Hey, what's up? This is the 11th video in this series so far, and right now we're working on our blog. In the last video we just finished coding out the blog post, so now we're going to come back, make things feel a little more dynamic, and we're going to add a for loop to display all of the blog posts within this site. So let's go ahead, jump into things, and pick up where we left off in the previous video. Alright guys, so I've already got our server up and running right here. We can come over here and look at, this is the blog index page right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back in here and we are going to make this header section use information like the title, the link to the page, and the featured image for our post here. And then we're also going to code out a blog, like a for loop, to display all of the blog posts right here. So let's go to our project. Got it open right here in Atom. And let's start off in blog.html. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to have two for loops. The first for loop is going to be for displaying the information inside of what we have right here. And then the second for loop is going to be down here, and that is what's going to display all of the blog posts on the website. So to get things started, so let's start our blog loop. It's going to be curly brace %, for post in site.posts offset :0 and limit :1, and then close this % and curly brace. And then down here we're going to write curly brace % end for curly brace, well, % and closing curly brace. So what this is doing right here essentially is we're limiting this to only read from one blog post. Otherwise, there would be one of these headers for every single post if we didn't limit this to one. The other thing we have here is this offset. And so what this offset number is going to allow us to do is choose which blog post is our featured post going back in time. Currently we only have one, so the offset is 0, but when there's more posts here, I'll be able to adjust this number to 2, 3, or 10 or anything I want, and it's going to use it's going to take whatever the most recent blog post is and then offset it by that number and use that post to fill in all of this data here. So now that we got that done and out of the way, let's come here to the style. And so we're going to take this part right here and we're going to replace that with some code. So it's going to be curly brace. This first bit is going to be site.path to blog image bin, just like we added in the last video. And then this right here is going to be curly brace site, post dot featured image, just like that. And if we save this, let's see if this has changed yet. All right, sweet. So that is using the image from the blog post that we have written on here. So now we just need to do almost the same exact thing, but change this to use the title and this to use the link to the post. So to do that, in our H1 right here, let's replace this text with curly brace post dot title. And then let's add an href here. And it's going to be post.url. Let's save that. And now, when we refresh this here, this has got the title from our post that we wrote, the featured image, and if we click this, it's going to take us right to that post. So that's exactly how we want that right there. Now we can begin working on our other for loop to display all of the posts in our website. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the HTML here. The first thing we're going to do before we start this loop is we're going to add a wrapper for all of the post. So it's going to be a div with a class of blog index wrapper. And we'll close this off here. And now inside of this is where we're going to put our loops. So it's going to be curly brace, %, for post in site dot posts, %, and close curly brace. And then right here we can go ahead and end the for loop. So it's going to be curly brace, %, end for, %, and closing curly brace. And in here, this is where we're going to put all of the style, well, the HTML markup for our posts and how they're going to be displayed. So let's start this off with a div. And this is going to have a class of blog post container. And so this is going to be the container for each individual blog post. So let's go ahead and take a look at our design over here. This is what this is going to look like. So we're going to need an image, a category, a title, and an excerpt. So it's not too many items. Let's just go ahead and add those really quickly. All right, so let's go ahead and get that image in here. What we're actually going to do though for this image is, so the image, the category, and the title are all going to be anchor tags, and the excerpt is going to be a paragraph tag. The reason being, this picture and the title are going to be links that take you to the post directly, and this category, not in this video or in the series, that's out of the scope of this series, but later on in the future, once I have many more posts on this website and other people contributing, and I have a few more categories on here, this is going to be a link to the a page just like this page that only consists of posts of that category instead of all categories. So that's why these 3 items are going to be anchor tags. So let's go ahead and let's get started with the anchor tag for the image. So it's going to be an A, href, and this is just going to be curly brace, site dot base URL. I'm sorry, not site, not that at all. Actually, it's going to be post dot URL. My bad. And let's give this a class of blog post featured image, and let's set the style. And so we're going to have to set the background image the same way we're doing it for these right here. We're going to have to set it in the HTML. That way we can use Jekyll to add all of the images for each post. So it's going to be style, background image, URL, and so now this is going to be it's going to be this exact same link right here, so we can put that here. It needs a semicolon after it here. And so here's the difference between these 2 links. So if you remember, in our image blog, we have this low res folder here with these same images with the same name in it. So basically all we need to do right here is between the path to blog image bin and the featured post is we're going to add a we're going to add a low res and /, and now that's going to pull the image from this low res folder so that the page loads much faster. Let's go ahead and close this off, save it, and let's go ahead and take a look at it, see if anything's happened. Nothing has happened yet. It's probably because I didn't give it a size yet, but let's just take a look. blog post container. Yeah, so it's right here. It just doesn't have a size yet, and that's why it's not showing up. So we'll come back and look at this later once we start styling it, or once we add this text here. So we need 3 anchor tags, so 2 more href. Now this href right here is for the category, but right now it's not going to go anywhere, so we're just not going to put anything in there. Let's give it a class of blog category, and let's close this off, and we're going to use curly brace post dot categories right there, and that is going to add in whatever we have given, whatever category we have given to that post is going to show up here. So on our next line here, we're going to do one more anchor tag href. This again is going to be post.url, and after that, let's give it a class of blog title. Close it off, and then inside here we're going to do curly brace post dot title, just like that. And then now we can add the excerpt, so it's just going to be a paragraph tag, class of blog excerpt, and then inside of here we are just going to call the curly brace post dot excerpt right there. Let's save that. Now let's come over here, refresh, and see what we see. Is technology making us lazy? Okay, so why isn't this showing up? Post dot, oh, added an extra E there. I think that's spelled right now. Let's refresh this again. Okay, so here we have the title. We have the excerpt right here, and it looks like we're missing the category. Post dot categories. Did we add a category to this? We did. Post dot categories. Let's see. Let's just look at it over here and see if it's hiding somewhere. It's gonna be in here, and this one, and okay, so it is there. Oh, okay. Sorry, I couldn't separate the So this is our category right here. See how that ends right there, and then this is our title, and this is our excerpt. So now this is all of the HTML that we're gonna need for this here. What we're going to have to do now, though, is we're going to have to start styling this. So this is what we're going to make it look like. And let's come over here to our Sass layouts and blog index. And down here, we are going to start styling this. So the first thing we can go ahead and do is grab the blog index wrapper. And this is how we're going to determine how wide this, well, all these posts go and whatnot. So let's go ahead. Let's give that a width of 100%. And let's give it a max width of 1200 pixels. Let's give it some margin of 100 pixels on the top. Auto on the left. Auto on the right, 0 on the bottom, and auto on the left. And so that's going to keep it centered in the page. Now we need to go ahead and add some padding. So the padding is going to be 0 on the top and bottom, but 20 pixels on the left and right. So it should go up close to the edge. We can just refresh this here. All right, there we go. That's looking much better. Now we need to go ahead and say display flex flex direction is going to be row. We can justify content, space around, align items to the baseline, and we're gonna do flex wrap of wrap, and then at media screen and max width of 700 pixels. We're going to get rid of the padding altogether because at 700 pixels, these images, well, they'll all be in a single column by 700 pixels, and it's going to go from edge to edge. That's how it's designed. It's just on a different size of this page right here. So that's good for that. Now, what we need to do is we need to start styling our individual posts. So each one of these, we just styled the wrapper for all of this. Now we're going to style this entire thing right here. It shouldn't take too long here. So let's start this off with the blog post container. Let's give it a transition of all 0.4s ease in, and let's give it a width of 100%. Let's give it a max width of 300 pixels. 320 pixels, I'm sorry. And let's give it some margin. Let's do 0 on the top, 5 pixels on the right, 120 pixels on the bottom, and then 5 pixels on the left. Alright, that's good. Now we need to go ahead and say at media, screen and max width of 700 pixels. We are going to set the max width to be 100%, and that's going to force it to be edge to edge at 700 pixels. And we can also go ahead and take off some of the margin. So it's going to stay 0 on the top, but now it's going to be 0 on the right, 120 pixels on the bottom, and 0 on the left. That way it's not being 5 pixels off of each side. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to style the image. So let's see what we named this. It's right here. So it's blog post featured image is the class. All right, down here, let's grab that and let's give it a few styles. The first of which being display block. And let's give this a width of 100% and a height of 200 pixels. Now we can go ahead and give this some margin. So the margin for this is going to be 0 on the top, auto on the right, 40 pixels on the bottom, and let's just do auto on the left as well. Let's set the background. And if you remember, we're setting the image for this inside of our HTML right here. So we just need to set a few things here, like the size is going to be cover. Our position is going to be center, center. And our repeat is going to be no repeat. just like that. Let's come over here, refresh this page, and see if we can see anything now. There's our image. This is all in line, so it's getting much closer to this. Let's go ahead and set a few more styles though. That's it for the featured image. Let's go ahead and come down here and grab our class of blog category, and we're gonna display block text align center. Margin is going to be 0 on the top, auto on the right, 15 pixels on the bottom, and then auto on the left, and that's going to keep it centered. Well, I mean, both of those are. Let's see. Let's go ahead and set the color. What color do we have? Okay. So this color is going to be our secondary variable. Secondary. And let's say text transform. I want this to all be uppercase. Font family is going to be the variable of font stack. The font size is going to be fairly small. It's going to be 0.5 em, which should be about 8 pixels or so. And then we're going to do letter spacing of 1 pixel. And let's save that and look at this here. All right, sweet. The reason we made this display block is because if it was still display inline, we would still have all this text right after, and it would be wrapping just like it was before. But now that it's display block, it's on its own level, and it's centered because of the margin auto. All right, now that we got our category done, let's go ahead and get started on our title, and then we'll be almost done with this. So blog title, I believe, is what we had named it. Let's just double check. Blog title, yes, okay. All right, so the styles for our blog title are going to be display block as well. Let's just say text align center, and then margin is going to be 0, auto 20 pixels, and auto again. Our font family for this is going to be font stack. Just like that. And we're going to set our font size to be 1.2 em. That's good. I want the font weight to be 500. And the color is going to be different as well. It's going to be our highlight variable. Let's save this, refresh this. All right, so that is looking much closer. We just have a couple more things to add here. So let's see. Blog title. The next thing we're going to do is add the excerpt style. So it's class of blog excerpt, and we're going to say text align center. Margin auto, display block up here, and let's go ahead and change the color to secondary, the variable. What else? Okay, so the font family is going to be different as well. Font family is going to be our font stack 2. Our font size is going to be just slightly smaller than normal, so it's going to be 0.8 em, and our line height is going to be 2 em. Sorry, I cannot type today. Line height 2 em, so it's going to be double spaced essentially. Let's go over here, refresh this. All right, that is looking good. That is looking just like this here. The last thing I want to add for style to this is, so basically this is running right up to the edge of this picture, and I kind of want there to be a little padding inside of each one of these containers for the text itself. So to do that, what we're going to do down here is we are going to grab our blog category, our blog title, and the blog excerpt, and we're just going to add padding of 0 on the top and bottom and 20 pixels on the left and right. And so now when we come over here and refresh this, watch this right here. So now it's just pushed in a little more, and it's centered a little more, and it gives a little more space to breathe in between each of these posts. So this is exactly what each post is going to look like, and because of that loop, for every single post that we have, it's just going to essentially be another one of these. So if we were to come over here, and where's the post at? Let's just duplicate this. Duplicate, and let's just rename this to like hello world. Alright, so this is our other post, and now if we come over here and refresh this, you'll see now there's two. Now this one looks just like this, and this one, as you can see, it has our hello world right there. So they are technically different posts. Each one is going to its own, even though they still have the same title. We're just not editing any of that information. And if we want to make this a little more realistic, let's just see here. If we change this date to the 18th, so it should be the day after, and then again, let's change the title here to just hello world. Let's save this. Now, when I refresh this, this one is going to say hello world, and it's going to take us to the hello world post. So there we go, because this is dated prior to this one. So now this one takes us right here to hello world. All right, so let's just delete that real quick because we do not need that same post again. Move to trash. All right, so that's it for this right now and this page. Another thing that I want to go ahead and add is, if we look at our prototype right here, down at the bottom of the post, we have the you might want to read, and 3 of these posts styled exactly the same. So let's go back and look at this. So this is the bottom of our post right here. We do have the you might want to read, but we do not have those posts displayed there. So let's go ahead and get those added. All right, so over here in our layouts, this is where we're going to need to put this. We're going to need to put it right inside of here. But to make this easier, let's go ahead and, where did we just write that in our blog here? We're just going to take this for loop right here, copy this, come back to the post layout, and we're going to paste it right in here. And so essentially, if we save this, let's just see what this does when we save it and refresh it. All right, so it has added this here. This itself looks exactly the same, but we do need to go ahead and put this in a wrapper to keep it centered. And how we have this for loop right now, it would essentially display every single post in the site. So if you remember how we added, let's see, where is that at? It's over here. If you remember how we added this limit right here, we're going to add this limit to the for loop here, but we're going to limit it to 3. So now it's just going to be always going to be a maximum of 3 here, no more than 3 ever. But because we only have 1, that's why you're only seeing 1 right now. So let's go ahead. This is our wrapper right here. The blog read more wrapper. We already put that in the previous video. So now what we do need to do is go ahead and give that a little bit of styling. So over in our layouts and in our post.sass at the bottom. Okay, so we didn't add this in our Sass yet, but let's go ahead and grab, see, it's this right here, the blog read more wrapper. It's right after that H5. And now we're going to give it some styles. So it's going to be very similar to the styles before. In fact, I think we can go ahead and let's just copy those styles real quick. Where's it at? Down right here, okay. So we're going to copy all of this right now. And I know I could give this the same class that we have in our blog index page, but the only reason I don't want to do that is because there may be a time in the future where I need to change the way this looks here for this you might want to read more section, and that's why I'm giving it a different class with very similar styles. So we've got all this here. Let's just go through it. That's good. That's good. Yes. Row. All right. Let's save it and see how that looks. Sweet. So that is centered right there. I believe we have a 100 pixel margin right there, though. We do need to get rid of that. So let's just set this to 0, just like that. The padding is still good. And let's change the align. I don't should be changed. No, I'm gonna keep that how that is. That should be good. All right. Now let's come up here and refresh this again. All right, now this is right up here and snug to that, just like it shows here. So that is everything I believe that we're going to be doing in this video. So this is essentially the entire blog. That's everything that we needed to set up. So whenever I'm adding another post here, and where is it? In the post folder. So whenever I add a new one here, the date's obviously going to be newer than this. It's going to take all of these that we had to set up in each post, and it's going to use that to fill it in here to make its own new post on this for loop. And then whatever I set the offset to be on this right here is going to determine which post is being the quote-unquote featured post, and you can click it and all the posts will look like this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The reason I don't know if I said this in the last video or not, I can't remember, but if you remember this data file here, authors.json, whenever there is more, again, I will add, basically I'll rewrite this and down beneath it and put whoever else is in here, and then if it's their post, they will show up here instead of me, and that's already done. It's all set and ready to be used in the future whenever those people do begin writing for this. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I will see you in the next video.